Mitchell. This is my geology project on the woolly mammoth. Here's a good picture of the woolly mammoth here. Okay. Some facts on the woolly mammoth. The woolly mammoth was 9 to 11 feet tall, and it weighed 5 to 7 tons. Similar to tree rings in the mammoth tusk, the mammoth tusk can actually depict how old the mammoth is just by looking at the rings on the tusk. I found that very interesting, considering that we just did a lab on tree rings and pre-fossils in determining ages. The final resting place of the woolly mammoth was somewhere called Wrangel, if I'm saying that right, Wrangel Island in the Arctic. Most of the mammoth population died out by 10,000 years ago. A small population of 500 to 1,000 mammoths lived on Wrangel Island until 1650 BC. Right here is a picture of Wrangel Island and exactly where it's at. It's a little below the Arctic, sitting right here in the Columbia Sea. So that's a good picture. Picture of a mammoth tusk, or a tusk of a mammoth. In this picture, we see the assembly of the mammoth tusk, which isn't necessarily a real fossil, or it might be, considering museums don't really show actual bones, considering scientific research is very valuable towards real actual bones. So again, this is just showing the assembly of it, and if we zoom in, you can kind of see the rings on the tusk. Not really, but kind of. They're right along here. Moving on. The closest living relative is actually the Asian elephant. In 2005, researchers assembled a genome profile of the woolly mammoth and found out that the closest living relative is the Asian elephant. It was confirmed in 2015 that the DNA of the elephant and the mammoth were a match. An Asian elephant. The time zone of the mammoth. The woolly mammoth lived in the Paleolithic epoch, which was about 2.6 million years ago. To be more specific, it was during the Cenozoic era. The Cenozoic era is known as the Age of Mammals. The Cenozoic era is divided into 3 periods. They include the Paleogene, Neogene, and Quaternary period. Other animals include things like saber-toothed cat, giant ground sloth, and things like that. And here's a picture of geologic timescale. Moving on. Dug up remains of a mammoth in Virginia. So the dug up remains of the woolly mammoth was discovered in a passage of endless caverns in Rockingham County, Virginia on July 1996. In the caves, a tooth was found. This is the first record of any mammoth remains found in the Virginias. And when I say Virginias, I mean this Virginia and West Virginia, but more importantly, this Virginia and Rockingham County, which is in the red here. I also provided a link to where I found that information right here, and remains of a skeleton of a mammoth, which is probably a baby mammoth considering that it's, well, not that big in the picture. Continuation of dug-up remains of the mammoth in Virginia. How this discovery was made was by two cavers, Wade Berdizix, I don't know how to say that last name, and Chris Prince. They were digging in a non-commercial portion of the cave. Wade noticed the strange find and was able to make out that it was a tooth and made a decision to leave it in situ, which situ in geology means a natural or original position or place. So basically, it means he left it in the ground. Here's a picture of a fossilized mammoth tooth unearthed. Pretty big, pretty impressive. Moving on. Conclusion, the mammoth was one of the most significant creatures to walk the earth a long time ago. Preservation in ice have provided much detail on how these creatures lived, and more importantly, how evolution changes through history. Like for instance, the Asian elephant is relevant to the woolly mammoth, because basically the woolly mammoth is a giant, what is it? A giant, how tall? A giant 9 to 11 foot elephant in lots of wool. So these are my citations in APA format. They include multiple citations of photos and websites that I've used throughout the PowerPoint. And that wraps up my geology PowerPoint. I hope you enjoyed my presentation on